Hi, this is Balázs from Alpha Forever, and this is AFNoding number 17. Today we are going to build a Euclidean beat generator. I hope it will make fun. And at the same time, this is the first session when you are going to see my face while noding. I don't know if it adds to the noding experience or not. I hope it will make it a bit more enjoyable and a bit more human. But if I'm disturbing, I'm sorry. So I'm going to keep my face in the bottom right corner, as you can see, and without further ado, let's jump into building our little Euclidean beat generator. So let's create a designer and call it Euclid. And here we can take an input and an output. And for the time being, I'm going to leave this like this, and we'll put stuff inside of it later on. But for the time being, I'm going to use an LFO and the scope, and we'll connect the frequency of the LFO to the frequency of the scope, and we'll set the scope to accept hertz. And I create a gain lean node here, set the volume to 0, so we do not get any ugly noises. And I create the output, and you can see that our LFO draws. I set the frequency to some range that refreshes fast, so this way our scope has a refresh rate of 33 Hz, which should be pretty fluid. So if I change to so, it changes immediately to so. And I'm going to create a helper designer here, which is going to convert the LFO to a gate. So this is only for the purpose that when this event happens, we are going to send out a trigger, so the LFO will stay on the right place. So if the input is going to be smaller than the previous one, we can do this because we are going to use only a saw wave. Then we output 1, as we don't output anything, so that's it. I connect this here, connect it there. And as you can see, we are fine. I could have used the zero cross function as well, but we are actually never crossing 0, so we are better like this. And what we are going to do next is to convert this straight line into something rectified. So we are going to have 16 steps, like on a sequencer. That's simple to do. We just have to divide the LFO, multiply the LFO by the number of steps. We are going to use 16 steps now, and truncate the output. And to stay in the 0 and 1 range, we are going to divide by the same amount of steps, and there we go. It's pretty straight. And here comes a small explanation how Euclidean beat generators work. Basically, we have 16 steps now. We will have a variable which we will call beats, and it will tell us how many triggers we want to have on these 16 steps. And those beats are going to be aligned in a way that the distance in between them is as close to equal as possible. And syncopation is going to only happen because of aliasing. So if you add an odd number of beats, you will have distances between 3 and 2. So distances will vary based on aliasing. So a Euclidean generator is an alias sequencer, basically. And now we will do this. So we have the number of steps. We are going to need a knob, which we will call beats. Let me align this here. And we are going to divide the number of steps by the number of beats, like this. And what we want to do is to modulo this truncated output by the division before, and we only need to truncate this to be sure that it's alright, and we only have to check if it's bigger than 0, then we don't output anything. If it's not bigger, so it's 0, we output 1. Oh yeah, everything is right, just the number of bits is missing. And you can see that it works pretty well until we get to a level of 8, and it's not so intuitive from that point on. But until 8 we are fine. But after that, since these lines are straight, things do not work so well. So we have to check for the change on the beats, and I will input this into the A input, so you can see that we have now a vertical line on each beat. I set the B scale to lower so you see it. And this is 1 all the time. And we simply need to multiply the output of this if statement by this change value. And this is going to be the Euclidean trigger. And as you can see, it's fine. Now we have 15 steps, 14, 13, and on 4 we have a 4 on a floor beat. If I put an envelope follower on this, it's easier to see maybe. Like this. So we have our basic Euclidean generator. We just have to enhance it a bit more. But maybe I will show it on audio. I lower the rate of this sequence of this LFO, and now things will change a bit less smooth. But things still work. That's important. And I'm going to create a filter here. Input the B input into the filter. Oh, I wanted to create a filter 2P because I'm going to create sine waves on a pitch of 40, let's say, with the resonance of 0.1, and use the band output and divide like this and connect this to input 1 and set the volume a bit higher. Yeah. That's a 4 on the floor beat. But what I don't like currently is that changing the beat number can create odd artifacts or strange artifacts, and I want to use a variable here and only change the beat number when a step is happening. So that's right. And what we still want to have is an offset. So we are going to put an add here, and you can rotate the rhythm, but I will call this offset. 0 and 16. And this means that okay, I take this door, so now you see it, and I put this on the 4 on the floor. And if I change this offset value, the beats should jump one value to the right, one note to the right. Let's see if it works. Oh, it's on 2. Oh, they moved to the left. Well, then they moved to the left. Probably minus 16 would be better. This is one to the right. No. Then we move one to the left and we are nice. This will work even this way. It's not disturbing at all. So, this is our basic Euclidean generator. Let me put all of this stuff into the Euclid node. I'm deleting everything because I changed my mind, and instead of this LFO, we are going to create an input. Let me stop this. So this is going to be our input, where we will accept values between 0 and 1. Let me create another input here called bits. And one more input called offset. And I just press I above these plaques to create input. So I pressed I above B and it created an input. And I don't need this node, because it was just for visualization. Sorry, I clicked accidentally. And this is going to be our output. It's a trigger, so I call it T. And there it goes. I simply delete these nodes, connect the LFO to the input, and I output this T. There it is. And plug the beats in, plug the offset in. And we should be fine. So if I turn up the volume, we should hear the same beat. But there is still a but. This LFO is not the most intuitive thing when you are using this in music making. So you can set the speed in a way you like it, but maybe it's more intuitive to use a clock. And this way you can track the song position. So I connected the clock to the A input, and let me change the view here to the sequencer. And if I move around here, that's a bit too small. Yeah, this should be the right resolution. So I move to the first 16th note, and the value of this signal is now 0.25. If I move to the second 16th note, the value of this line is 0.5. This value only changes when I hover my mouse over this line, because this reflects the position where my cursor is. And this should be 0.75. And this is the first quarter note, so we got 1 here. So this clock outputs the transport position in quarter notes. So if I come here, it should be number 3, and it's 3. Sorry, this way it's maybe more visible. So it's 3, it's 1, and this is 8. This should be 4, and this should be 0. So if we multiply this by 16, then we get the number of 16th notes. So this should be 1. No, it's 4. We have to multiply it by 4, sorry. So this should be 1. This should be 2. This should be 3. And we can simply modulo these, truncate these, like this. Then we only have the whole numbers. And modulo it by 16. What the modulo function does, you can look it up on Wikipedia. It's not a complicated function. I'm just not good enough to explain it. It's what is left of a division. That's what the modulo shows. And now we simply divide it by 16, so we get back to the range of 1 and 0. So actually, if I start it now, we should be fine. Yeah, there is the beats. Let me make this a bit louder. And if I turn on the metronome, we will be completely in sync. I think that's a nice thing. And yeah, so this is our clock. And I'm going to put this into this Euclidean thing, so we don't need an input anymore. It will just run on its own. And we have 2 variables, or 2 knobs, controlling the beat, and we can create rhythms from here on and have some fun. Like, this is our bass drum already. I just put an envelope follower here so we get some more depth. Set the volume to the 0.5 level. Let's listen to what we have got. This is nice. Let's put a mixer here. And let's copy paste these guys. And let's create a noise oscillator. Multiply like this. And create a filter here, like the HP output to the second input, and set the cutoff to some high value. And let's use an offset of 2. And let's play. Cool. Let's duplicate this patch. Let's align these guys. Let's have only 2 beats here with an offset of 4. I hope it will make sense. And use the same white noise with a filter 1 pole. The cutoff, crossfader, add these guys together and plug it into the third input, and I will give this, let's say, 50 or maybe even 60 as a pitch. Okay, multiply this. Let's use a bandpass filter. And let's also create a step. So we have some simple instrument here as well. I'm going to create a step. The step is going to be a chord. And I'm just simply passing the pitch value through the notes. So to create a minor chord, I simply have to move 3 notes up here and 4 notes here. So this is, if this is E, then this is G, and this is B. Because of the bass pitch is the modulated pitch of the previous node. And this way you don't have to create these cross lines and no spider wires. And the initial pitch is going to be, let's say, 32 maybe. And let's use a filter here. Use a Euclid part again. Use an envelope follower after it, like this. And simply multiply the output of this thing by this envelope. And if I connect this there, we should already have some sound. So yeah, basically this is the way you create minimal techno, or modular minimal techno in Alpha Forever. But and sorry, I had some fun here, and yeah, actually this Euclid node is not so fun. I didn't know it's this much fun. So, and I hope you had fun watching this, like I had fun building this thing. I will share the patch with you, and you can extend it further and you can play around with it. You can create more complex stuff. And yeah, if you like this channel, please subscribe, and if you like Alpha Forever, then support us. And yeah, what's left then? Wishing you happy noding and lots of fun, and bye bye.